I know you're having a little bit of difficulty with the data and getting that information in. As long as you can definitively say, which you are, that we're not going to see anything like we saw yesterday, I'm okay. We'll give you that grace there.
Absolutely. And something that we did see last night, I know my brother was texting me in the middle of the day yesterday saying he was hearing reports that Fawcett Hospital had a situation with its fourth floor, the roof, part of it being torn off during all of this in the ICU area. So we're talking about some of the most vulnerable patients at the hospital. So we quickly went ahead and tried to confirm that information. We did get confirmation from a doctor at the Fawcett ICU who talked about how a portion of the roof blew off there. So we want to get to that interview with that doctor.
Take me through what happened today.
I was working over at Fawcett HCA Hospital here in Port Charlotte. A lot of times when a storm like this hits, the CMO always asks a few of us doctors to stay in-house the night before a storm, because depending on how bad the storm is, obviously, we can't get into the facility at that time. So we were just all working, trying to do the best we could, of course, for our patients. And we knew that the first floor could potentially flood, which is why we had made some plans to evacuate the emergency room to a second floor up in the operating room area, the PCU. And then later in the afternoon, as the storm became stronger and stronger, all of a sudden there was large noise, and it was said that part of the roof had flown off, and we ended up seeing quite a bit of water then coming from the upstairs fourth floor, which is where the ICU is. And we ended up having to immediately, of course, evacuate all the patients in the intensive care unit up on the fourth floor. So there was quite a bit of water gushing in from the ceiling into the ICU on the fourth floor.
How horrifying. Oh my gosh. How are the patients that you had to transfer?
They're luckily all okay. We could not transfer them outside of the hospital. Luckily, we had our critical care doctor in-house, which was fantastic. And they ended up transferring the patients over to the PACU, which is kind of the post-surgical area where they're also...
Oh, are you there?
I apologize,
Oh,
yes.
that's okay. Go for it.
So we ended up moving them over to the PACU, which is the area where they're also capable of taking care of ICU patients. And then our critical care doctor, obviously, spent the time taking care of them there like he had been upstairs in the ICU. So luckily the patients are all okay. They are working on trying to transfer them out later now this morning. I guess it's already next day almost now. But they weren't able to do that yesterday during the storm, obviously, because when an ambulance can't even come, a helicopter can't come, you can't transport a patient out of the hospital.
Absolutely. So that was my next question. So what's the plan there? Are we waiting for National Guard or?
Yeah, no, we're waiting just for the storm to have died down, which it probably has by now. And so in early morning hours, we're probably going to transfer all the patients out that this hospital at this moment has a hard time handling just because of the damage.
Understandably so. Just your reaction to what we just experienced today and trying to even gather what happened.
Of course, awful. I haven't even left the hospital, so I don't know what the rest of the community looks like, but I can only imagine from having seen that, out looking out the window and seeing how terrible the storm was, and then seeing what this hospital that was built to withstand a storm like this, had such a hard time. I can only imagine how bad the rest of the community looks.
Okay, well, I'm so grateful that you still talk to me, even though I interrupted you in the middle of a sleep in a hospital that is you're trying to hold down. So thank you so much.